This is a video where I go through the homework in Chapter 1 of Greek Word Studies for Everyone. I highly encourage you to go about the order of your study in this way. 1, watch the overview lecture video. 2, work through the chapter, reading it on your own and studying it and practicing. 3, really probably be a good idea to attempt the homework on your own first, unless you're confused. If you're confused, let me help you. But maybe attempt the homework on your own first, and then come back and check it after you've tried it yourself. Notice the homework here has 3 portions to it. First, the alphabet. You need to memorize the Greek alphabet. If you're unclear on how to do that, go back to a lecture video that will help you. A song is usually helpful. We'll post a video of someone who can sing on pitch to help you. And be able just to write out the lowercase alphabet in order. Yeah, it's going to look a little bit different than this typed version. There's lots of different kind of Greek fonts, just like there's English fonts. There's Times New Roman, Courier, Helvetica. It's the same thing with Greek fonts, and it's the same thing with Greek handwriting being slightly different. Standard Greek handwriting means slightly different from fonts, from typefaces, so to speak. Okay, then there'll be where you're asked to write out multiple times the 7 vocabulary words from this chapter. You really should work to learn those. Know that agape means love. If I say, what does the Greek word agape mean? Or I write this down and say, what does this Greek word mean? You need to be able to say, well, that means love. Or if I say, what is the Greek word for love? You need to be able to write out agape. Then there's a section where you can practice reading aloud. I will read aloud in this video, and you can follow along. Also, there are literally thousands of videos of me reading through Greek verses and talking about them verse by verse. They're 2 to 3 minute videos. You can go to dailydoseofgreek.com if you want to have some more practice listening to reading of Greek. All right, so you may want to pause here and actually work on this yourself first. But there's no hard and fast rule about that, so don't feel condemned. So we're going to practice writing these out by hand. The word agape, right? The word agape. There you go. Agape. Don't forget. You always need to put your breathing mark. Don't worry about your accent, but you always need to put your breathing mark. Notice these do intentionally dip below the line there as well. That's the word agape. Agape. I'll write out the word aletheia. I'm not sure. I'm erasing this because I don't want to run into each other. So let's write out the word aletheia. Oops, I probably should make that more intentionally dip below the line. So aletheia. So yes, that eta does dip below the line in the way that's normally written. Aletheia. Then we have the word hamartia, the word for sin. Hamartia. And yes, these 2 letters are intentionally dipping below the line there. And notice that's a rough breathing mark. That's hamartia. Hamartia, the word for sin. We have a word for kingdom. Basileia, right? Basileia, the word for kingdom. That sigma's a little bit messy there, isn't it? But you could write it, so usually write it a little more like that. So Basileia, there we go. Basileia, the word for kingdom. Then we have the word for heart. Word for heart is cardia. So this is intentionally dipping below that line there as well as up here the beta. The beta and the rho are dipping below the line. Then we have the conjunction de. What does de mean? Well, only the context can tell you. Does it mean and, but, now, whatever, Kai. Kai means and, even, also, right? Very wide range of meaning. How many times does Kai occur in the New Testament? Thousands. Look at that. You learned a word that occurs thousands of times. Kai. I think in the Gospel of Mark, if I'm not mistaken, about 65% of the time, this sentence will begin with Kai. So very common. It's much more common in Greek to begin sentences with connecting words than in English. All right. So practice writing out those words on your own. This is the 3rd section of the homework where we pronounce the Greek. And I am using Erasmian pronunciation, and I've warned you ahead of time that sometimes my O-class vowels, because I have a southern tongue, will they'll lean towards A-class vowels a little bit, right? So in other words, the the omicron, aw, will begin to sound a little bit more like a ah, my mouth has trouble keeping closed that way just because of where I grew up and how I speak English. But I'm going to try to pronounce those as rigidly as I can with the Rasmussen pronunciation. But about 5% of you get really hung up on wanting to pronounce things perfectly. But that's really a mistaken notion at this point. You just really need to jump in and not be afraid to be a little fuzzy around the edges. That's totally fine. That's what you need to do. I should have mentioned in the lecture video that when you have two gammas together, it's not pronounced g-g, it's pronounced unk, right? This makes a pardon me. There we go. Gamma together is a sound, but gamma kappa or gamma chi is a sound. I'm thinking about the word that occurs down here. But when you have, for example, you have the word in Greek for angel, angelos, that's two gammas together, makes a sound, angelos, ng sound. Whereas down below here we'll have a gamma kappa, I believe is what it is, or gamma chi. That's pronounced unk. It's pronounced unk. It's not gk or gk. It's unk. Here it's not gg, it's So that's just how, again, like often it's a wrong question to say, why does it do that, right? The question is just, okay, what did native speakers do? What should I do? Okay, so I'm going to read through this really slowly and emphasizing, trying to be very rigid in my pronunciation. And so, all right. Kai, kathos, mouses. Maybe I'll pause every now and then and note, right? That's a diaresis where you know to pronounce that vowel distinctly. So kai, kathos, mouses, hupsosen, ton often, inte eremo, hutos, hupsothenai, de, ton huion tu anthropu, henna, pas ha pistuon, in auto, eche zoein ionion, hutos gar agapeson, ha theos, ton cosmon, hosta, ton huion, ton monogene, edoken, henna, pas, ha pistuon, eis auton, me apoletai, al eche zoein ionion. Verse 17 here. Ugar apestelen, ha theos, ton huion eis ton cosmon, henna crine ton cosmon, al henna sothe ha cosmos diautu, ha pistuon eis auton u krenetai, ha de me pistuon ede kekretai, hoti me pepistuken eis ta onoma tu monogenus huiu tu theu. Haute de esten he crisis, hoti ta phos, eleluthen eis ton cosmon, kai agapesan hoi anthropoi, molon ta skatos, e ta phos, ein gar auton panera ta erga. Pas gar ha faula prason, mise ta phos, kai uk erketai pras ta phos, henna me elengthe, there's the unk, elengthe ta erga autu. Verse 21 here, the final verse. Ha de poion tein aletheon, erketai pros ta phos, henna phanerothe autu ta erga, hati in theo esten ergas mena. Okay, very good. One or two other things we should have mentioned that we haven't yet is when you have that iota written beneath a letter, it will only be written beneath certain letters. It'll be written beneath an omega. It'll be written beneath an eta. It'll be written beneath an alpha. It does not affect pronunciation at all. This is pronounced O. This is pronounced A. This is pronounced Ah. But it is part of the spelling. It's called the iota, right? That's the name of the letter, the iota subscript. And if you know English or you know a little Latin, subscript to be written under. The iota written under. And so it's just, you just need to realize some words are going to have that. There it is. That's going to be pronounced the same as if we had this. The O, pronounced exactly the same way, but it is part of the spelling of the word to have the iota written underneath in that way. And that's probably about all you need to know about that right now. Well, just practice reading Greek and rejoice, because after you really learn chapter 1, you really can read every Greek word in the Greek New Testament. You don't know what most of them mean. You do know what chi means, right? There are quite a few chi's probably in here, right? Chi means and de means and or but or so. There's a de right there, right? You'll be able to find little words that you know. Hang in there. May God give you strength and joy in this journey.